Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'd said in the previous videos that I want to talk about tools. So I'm going to show you some tools that are very handy to have, something you don't really need. Some of these tools you can rent from certain auto parts stores. However, these are very, very useful if you plan to work on your truck yourself. You know, even as simplest of things as, fixing a window motor, trying to trace something. So I'm going to go over a couple tools and then get a little bit more specialty on you. I bought some tools over the past couple years that are very, very, very specialty. Can be very expensive if you buy them new. I've been fortunate enough to find them used places to get them for a decent price. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what you should have in your garage if you're going to be working, other than your basic tools, your ratchets, your wrenches. You want standard metric and so on, but you don't want to negate yourself from buying that specialty tool, because it really could save you hours of time. And in today's world, time is money. So if you get home and you realize you got to do something, you don't have the right tools, that 20-minute to an hour project could turn into a couple day project. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what is good to have around. Like I said, you don't necessarily need it, but let's get into it. So we'll start with the small box here. This is an OTC power steering pulley puller. It's very, very simple. It's not very difficult. So as you can see, it's simple. But if you want to replace a vacuum pump on a Power Stroke, if you want to replace the power steering pump in your truck, then yeah, you're going to need something like that to change that pulley out. Even pulling the pulley off inside the truck is almost a necessity. So you have to have that puller to get the pump off easily without being screwed up as far as getting it off. The second thing that I really recommend somebody have is a borescope or a camera that you can stick places. So this one's an Amazon special. It's nothing fancy. It's done me well. This one's small enough to fit down inside a injector hole in a 7.3. So you can use this to inspect your cylinders when you pull your injectors, just for your own sake, or if you're looking inside a cab to see if it's rusty, trying to find something. That camera is great, and they make an actual smaller one that will actually fit down inside a glow plug hole, which I thought was really interesting. But it's super fragile, so not really sure how good it can be. Another thing that I have come across is fuel lines. So the Ford Quick Connect fuel lines, as we all know, are not very quick. They get full of dirt, or they get rusty, or they just don't come apart. I've had parts stores quick connect disconnects, and I decided the one day, I was like, I'm sick of dealing with these stupid things. So I went and bought this Lyle kit. It is a full master kit. It comes with just about everything you could want for fuel line disconnects. And I will tell you that this thing was a lifesaver a bunch of times, because I even did my own little test where I took the parts store cheapy generic fuel quick disconnects, and they wouldn't work. Went and grabbed this set, grabbed the exact same tool out of this, but out of this kit, it was off in like 2 seconds, no problems. So this is where I said in my videos before that buying a quality part can really make a difference. And even with your tools, your quality tools are gonna make a difference. So that was a lifesaver for me a couple times, and I can show you what the difference is. So here's your parts store depth. So you're looking from here to here. Here's the Lyle one. You need that extra depth to get into the quick connects, and it makes a difference. You know, that's something that nobody really ever thinks about. So that's something to keep in mind. You know, quality tools, you get a quality product, you get something that's actually going to work, not your $5 parts store quick disconnect that's not going to do it for you. Something else, if you have a 7.3, this is a big one for a 7.3 truck. I don't know what the IDIs use. I don't mess with those too much. But if you have a Power Stroke, that engine clutch for the, or I'm sorry, not the engine clutch, the fan clutch sucks to get off. And you can't tell me that it doesn't. So I've seen where guys will take pipe wrenches and they screw up the nut, they screw up the bolts for the pulley. I've seen guys just take air hammers with the chisel bit and just beat the nut off with the air hammer. Hey, Lyle makes a kit. This thing's great. So you take this and you put it in your air hammer. Okay? See that little hook there? You got a wrench. You put that on your fan clutch and you use the air hammer to take it off. Hey, you don't destroy the nut. It's loose every time. It's tight every time. So let's get into some wiring. Power probe. So I bought this kit. I still don't fully know how to use it. I use this basically for testing motors, checking for grounds where I shouldn't have grounds, power where I shouldn't have power. I've used the tracing side of this a couple times. It's finicky for me. I haven't got it to work the way that they say it should work. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. It's something I still need to learn on. But if you decide to do any type of electrical work, this is a very, very good thing to have that comes with bulb adapters, so you can plug right into your taillight bulb socket. You can do some tracing. There's lots of little back probes in here and stuff like that that you can actually power a circuit if you need to, if you're able to test things without trying to fry something. So if you want to isolate a circuit and then test it, you can do that with this kit, and it's very nice. So if you have a Power Stroke truck, scan tool. You need a scan tool. If you have a 7.3 truck and you don't have a scan tool, you're just making your own life difficult. You can find a scan tool like this one here for like $200 or $300 on eBay. I mean, you can do just about everything you need to do with that scan tool. That one's an OTC brand. If you want to spend a little less money, you can find an old Snap-on MT2500, which is, you know, they call it the brick. It's good. It works. It's not user friendly. It's a little more difficult to use. It has a dot matrix display instead of an actual LCD display, so it's a little harder to use. This thing here, with this one, so obviously it's hooked with an OBD2. So this is a smart OBD2 cable. It'll work on anything OBD2. So you say, hey, what about me? You know, my truck's not OBD2. That's what you have this for. So you have the EEC connector here, and it plugs right into the scan tool. No chips, no cards. The only bad thing is this scan tool only updates till, I think, 2013 or 2015. So, you know, anything newer than that, that's useless to me, but I don't have anything that new, so it's great. So if you want to buy a scan tool, look for an OTC, look for an old brick. You can buy one for a couple $100 pretty cheap. They don't support them anymore, which is why they only update so far, but this is an OBS channel. We're not talking about anything newer than 97, at least for now. So, you know, that's some stuff that you can really think about getting. And then I went and bought this here. So what we have is an injector performance analyzer. Yeah, it's backwards, I know. So this plugs into the 42-pin connector, as you can see. And I can control the injectors with that module there. So if I'm trying to trace something down and, I feel like it's injector related. Instead of pulling the valve covers off and trying to unplug injectors manually, which getting the valve covers off can be a bear sometimes, especially whenever it's like, hey, I need to check this right now. So, 10 millimeter wrench or socket, and you undo your connector, you plug that thing in, you plug it in. Hey, you can just test injectors as it is and see what the engine's doing. I haven't used this yet. Thankfully, I haven't needed it, but this is something that came up, and I was like, I need to have that because I work on a lot of 7.3 trucks. So, I've covered a lot of 7.3 stuff. So, hey, what about the gas guys? I happen to find this. So what we have here is a breakout box. So this breakout box plugs into the PCM connector and the PCM. And what it does is it lets you pinpoint individual circuits. So let me see if I can get this to show a little better here. You can kind of see, and it wants to fall on my face, but you can see there's pins there, and you can tap into those circuits and monitor voltages, monitor and see if they're the right resistances, and so on and so forth. This is also something that I haven't needed, but it was something that it came up, and I was like, hey, I have one Lightning truck for myself. My dad's got one too, and if they get to needing service, something wiring related, I mean, they're 20-something years old now. You get a stupid rub, wire broke, you plug this thing in and you just start tracing wires with it. So that's nice to have. So those are the big items. You have other stuff. OTC makes a rear main installer and pooler for a 7.3. Guys will tell you they don't leak. Guys will tell you that, that's never a leak. However, there's a time that you should replace it. If you're in there and you're doing a bunch of work on an engine, doing a rebuild, that's something that, you should replace, because the original ones didn't have a wear sleeve. The new ones, they come with a wear sleeve. It's very simple to do with the tool. The tool's not cheap. Guys will say you can do it with a 2x4. I don't like doing stuff like that with a 2x4 because now you're talking about the correct depth. So now that we're talking about engine tools, I have a Mighty Vac compression tester. So this compression tester, there's tons on the market. Why did I choose this one? Because of the glow plug adapter. So glow plug adapter is flexible. So this thing, you screw it into the glow plug, and yeah, you don't even have to tighten this down. You don't. If you ever had to loosen it, you can get a very tiny wrench in there to loosen this just enough, but it goes around the rockers. So I've seen other ones that are small tubes that are brazed together. The brazing breaks, they bend, they don't fit. So this has fit every single time, and it works every single time. And they make a multitude of adapters for those. So that's something that you can pick up on Amazon also. Actually, you can pick up a lot of this stuff on Amazon. A lot of this stuff I picked up secondhand, guys that were either closing down a shop or just looking to move on to different things. So a lot of this stuff is easily purchased. It's not real expensive. The most expensive things you're going to come across are the power probe kit, the breakout box, the injector analyzer. I mean, that's all old stuff that, it brings some money because guys that see it comes up for sale and they buy it, because you can't buy it new anymore. You have to buy some of this stuff secondhand. So another thing I want to talk about is maybe some hand tools, driveline work, some other stuff. I had brought up the fan clutch air hammer tool. So a lot of guys have their preference on air hammers. This guy is a monster. If I was ever going to buy an air hammer, this Snap-on is it. I know it's not cheap. It's a very expensive tool. It will last you forever and do the job. So paired with that, ball joint removers. So there's a couple different ones on the market now, newer ones. I think Mac makes a really nice one. It's like a design like this. So I've used the Snap-on one. Yeah, it's also very pricey. I was lucky enough to uh, use one and borrow it, and it works phenomenal. It's strong. I've actually done some damage with the Snap-on ball joint press, so that's something to keep in mind. If you want a good ball joint press and you're working on bigger trucks like these, um, that's a very handy tool to have. So on the terms of the axles, this is a Harbor Freight special. It is a tie rod end remover tool. Kind of the same lines as a pickle fork, but instead of you trying to separate the tie rod end with a hammer and a pickle fork, you put that between and it actually pushes on the bottom of the ball joint to press it up out. I used this the other day. It works really, really well for what it is. Something that everybody should have is a torque wrench. So this is a Precision Instruments flex head torque wrench. I use this thing a lot. I really like it. There's no batteries, so simple, easy. Set it, and it's good. This is actually the same brand or same manufacturer as Snap-on. I do believe Precision Instruments makes it for Snap-on. Don't quote me on that. So this is a very good tool. Another thing that's handy to have is impact swivels, especially metric if you're working on a 7.3. Great for starters, great for the valve covers, tight places where you just need that little extra give. These are Gear Wrench brand. They work really well. They don't flex a whole lot because they're X drive, but they flex enough to give you a lot of torque transfer and stay seated. So another thing is flank drive wrenches. So most people say, what do I need a flank drive for? The bolts under the turbo on a 7.3, there's 4 bolts. They go up into the turbo. They're very long. Sometimes you can't get that pedestal off, be it maybe access or the bolts are in there pretty good and you can't get a good grab on them. You can use these flank drive wrenches underneath the turbo. They're long enough, and these are made by Astro. They're long enough to reach underneath the turbo, and you don't have to worry about them rounding off the bolts because they are flank drive. They're not grabbing on the point of the bolt. They're grabbing on the flat of the bolt. So those are really, really nice to have. So something that's often mistaken or overlooked is a panel tool, pry tool. Something very, very simple as this. This thing is great for connectors, interior panels, push pins, door panels, trying to get things apart that have been together for quite some time. This is a smaller one. They make bigger ones. This thing is great. I love this thing. I take it everywhere with me. If I go out to the junkyard, if I'm working on the truck, it's usually right there beside me because I need it. So ratchets, hand tools, most guys know what they want, what they need. A good flex drive ratchet. I have a nice long one about this big with a big locking flex head. It works phenomenal for oddball stuff. Places you can't get a regular 1/2-inch ratchet, or you need that little bit of a turn because you can't put an extra 1 or 2-inch extension in because you won't be able to get the bolt out, but that flex head ratchet fits in there well. That's something that is a handy item to have. It's good for certain brake calipers. I've used it to do oil changes on certain vehicles with the oil canister on top of the engine, obviously not OBS. So, something good to have. Power tools. So we're going to start with power tools a little bit here. Everybody has their brand choice. Whatever you choose is up to you. Doesn't matter to me. I like my Milwaukee stuff. So I recently purchased a 1/2-inch mid-torque. This thing's great for leaf spring bolts, as I discovered. It's short enough to fit up between the body and the frame and not hinder you for getting the bolts out. So that thing's great for that. I have used this 3/8 impact more times than I'd like to admit for everything. Perfect for harmonic balancer bolts where you don't want to take the radiator out, but you need to get that bolt off. This will actually just get to the 7.3 torque spec for that harmonic balancer bolt. So hey, you run that thing in with this and you can't get a torque wrench on it for some strange reason, that will do it. And then this little guy, 3/8 ratchet wrench. It's not a fuel. However, I use that ratchet probably every day. That I've had that ratchet for years. It's starting to fail on me, but valve cover gaskets, that ratchet. You want to do rockers, that ratchet. Injectors, that ratchet. That ratchet does everything. So I don't know who makes anything similar to these in the other brands. So, I don't know if these are specific to Milwaukee or not, but these have worked phenomenal for me. I love them. They make my life so much easier. Things go so much faster. So, if you're looking into working on your own stuff, like I said before, time is money. So, the faster you can get it done, the faster you're back on your way, or the faster you're onto your next project. So that's something to keep in mind is, having the right tools is half the battle. Having the strong enough tools is the other half. So these are just some things that I wanted to go over today. These are things that have made my life easier. Obviously, there's more to it than just the things I showed you. There's testers, there's oil pressure testers, fluid testers, there's installers, removers. But those are the things that are very helpful. Something that, almost everybody could use. No, but not everybody's going to rebuild their own engine. Not everybody's going to be able to go over their electrical system themselves. They don't have the probes or the meters. So, a lot of that, some of that stuff I talked about is irrelevant to some people. But, your backyard mechanic that wants to work on his own truck, the Milwaukee tools that I suggested are great to have. The swivel sockets are great to have. This little thing is like $20 or something like that. Yeah, that's great to have. It makes your life easier. Everybody should have a torque wrench. This torque wrench wasn't a whole lot of money. I want to say it was like $170 whenever I bought it a couple years ago. And it's stuff like that. And what are you going to spend in labor to have somebody else do it? You're out the money either way. If you have to do it more than once, it paid for itself. So just a couple tools that I would suggest maybe looking into, maybe looking at having. They'll make your life a little bit easier. So like I said, we're trying to stay on OBS content on this channel. So as you can see, the truck's up behind me. Probably going to do another video either later today or tomorrow on the transfer case on that. Depending on the weather, I might go out and show you some other stuff that we got coming up. So yeah, if you like the video, if you have any questions, ask me in the comments section there. I try to reply to anybody that has a comment or a question that needs help or needs advice or is unsure of something. Try to be helpful. It's the whole point of this channel. Subscribe to the channel for more OBS related content, and hopefully we'll see you in the future. Thanks for watching.